Welcome to The Bonfire, the tribe's community driven podcast where we share personal experiences, life stories, and genuine advice on active self improvement. I'm your host, Art, and thank you for joining us. Today on this episode, I have a very special guest with me, a talented young leader of the tribe's programming group Ctrl.Alt.Elite. Ghoul is leading the charge on the tech side of the tribe and working on a very unique coding project called Project Ignite with the rest of his members from the programmers. Ghoul, thank you for taking the time to join us today.
Thank you for having me. I'm super excited.
How you doing today? How's your rainy Sunday going?
Man, like these last couple of weeks, like we've just been having snow, even though it's spring. And then this weekend, it got hot. And now I'm sweating every time I go outside. It's
That's
nice we don't have snow, but
that sounds like a predicament.
yeah,
Always a bit difficult with some bipolar weather.
that's a good
So
way of putting it.
yeah, I guess so. Um, where are you from the States?
I'm in Canada actually, all Alberta.
Oh, no way. Okay, me too. Wow, I
Let's
did not know
go.
that. I'm Ontario. Okay.
All
This
right.
tribe really is worldwide, or I guess countrywide at this point. Yeah, man, this is crazy to know there's another Canadian, and I think this is the first time I'm really getting to know you. So, I guess I wanted to start with, as we all know, the tribe started as a part of another server, but that tribe system got scrapped, and we ended up going independent. So, we've been an independent community now for about less than 3 weeks now. We've been independent, so this is probably the first time I'm really getting to know you. So, why don't we start with how you joined the Sabretooth tribe and what was that experience like for you at the beginning?
Well, it started with Hamza, as with pretty much all of us did. Um, I watched Hamza off and on again for about 2 years. And he posted this video recently that was like a lot more aligned with like my values. Like previously his content was all about how do you get girls, how do you go to a club and get girls and stuff. But he recently did a 180 and he said, how do you how do you make yourself into the perfect person for your perfect girl? And I found that I really agreed with that. And the energy he had in that video really inspired me to join the Hamza group again, the Hamza Discord again, and actually join a tribe because I was thinking about tribes and I was a little iffy on that as well. But what really appealed to me about tribes was being in a group of people that are all motivated, that are all trying to be better versions of themselves. And just being around those people, people that challenge me, people that bring me up, people that make me want to be a better version of me. That was that was something I wanted in my life. And my friends, my actual current friends, they're on self-improvement too, but I have to be honest with myself, right? That they my current friends aren't as into self-improvement as I probably want them to be. Um, but here in the tribe, there's people doing crazy stuff that like really inspires me and brings me up as well, and that's what I really that's what I was going for. And thankfully, I joined the Sabertooths like literally like 2 weeks before 2 weeks before tribes were scrapped, and then I don't know if I would ever found the den after that, but
Yeah, out of like
I got
35
lucky.
tribes, you got lucky and joined this one, huh?
Yeah, so I'm counting my blessings right now.
That's crazy, man. Yeah, lots to be grateful for being part of this community. So, how do you find the community experience now that you are a group leader for the programmers?
It's amazing, like the guys here, like the ambition that they have, the motivation that they have. It's crazy. It's not. It's almost like something I couldn't imagine like back in my old life before I joined. And just seeing people strive for more and more. It it makes me see the flaws in myself and like how repressed I am and how much I could be better, how much better I could be if I applied myself into real life versus stuff that's kind of contrary to my purpose in life.
Just going on a bit of a tangent, did you have any like oh shit moments in the group where you were like, this community is something different? Did you experience anything like that personally?
Definitely. Like actually the first time I joined, right? AZ did a call and introducing the tribe to the new people, and his call really like enlightened me. Like, oh shit, this is really good. Like, he emphasized the point of building skills for the future, building skills. Like, we're gonna help you build skills in this tribe, and to me that was like, I mean, I don't know what I expected, but I wasn't expecting something this organized and this like momentum driven towards the idea of building skills, whether it be copywriting, SMMA, or programming or content creation. I wasn't expecting that. And to see just such a well structured community on Discord, that was the first hint that this is something special.
Yeah, I think so too. I think I joined around the same time as well, so I had the exact same feelings when I was part of that call and really had my oh crap moment. This is something way different than I expected. So yeah, I'm happy to be part of this. Likewise with you, man, and I'm happy to have met you. So I want to take it upstream real quick. Tell me about your life outside of this community. Who are you, and what is your life story so far?
Yeah, my parents were immigrants. We were escaping a war in Afghanistan, and we came here to Canada. I was 1 years old at the time, so it makes no difference to me. But yeah, we came here, and my parents worked really hard, and they brought me up with something close to a normal life as much as they could. And yeah, I grew up here, and but as I grew up here, I became very whitewashed, I would say. Um, and I succumbed to the how would you describe it? The degeneracy of the Western world, where entertainment is just a phone open away, a phone click away, and I I just play games like literally that. It almost became my life purpose to just play games all day, and anything that took me away from that was evil, was bad, was something that I just don't want any part of. And my life purpose became playing as many games as possible. And I don't even know if like I wanted to tell anyone about it. Maybe it was just for self-satisfaction, but looking back at it now, it makes no sense. But I mean, when you're a teenager, not a lot of your thought process makes much sense, does it?
Right.
But I was a bit of a gifted kid, so that helped me. That helped me basically waste my life away whenever I wasn't in school or whenever I wasn't doing something important. Um, Whenever I finished anything I had to do, it was just going back to games. I use games to avoid my problems, to avoid feeling depressed, avoid avoid life. Good way to put it. And when you're in that place, you kind of coast along life. You kind of coast. And sometimes you wake up and you realize, shit, a lot of time has passed, but I'm still in the same place. So I was able to coast along through life until now, and even now, sometimes I feel like I'm still coasting, but now I feel like there's more purpose, there's more direction in where I want to go. Like I actually sat down and I thought about what I want to do with my life, and that brings me here.
So, what was the sort of impetus that made you discover self improvement in the first place? And how did you start that self improvement journey?
To be honest, it started when I was I want to say grade 11, grade 11, right? Because back then I changed schools, and my normal friend group of people didn't change schools with me. I was in a new school. I was lonely. I didn't talk to anyone. Um, so I didn't really have much. I was an awkward kid, so I can't imagine. I don't blame anyone for it. I don't think it was very easy, especially when you're a teenager, to talk to someone who's a little awkward. Um, but I didn't have anything. I was just going to school and coming home and playing games. So I thought I was very depressed at that time because again, loneliness. Loneliness is a killer. And when you're in that place of you don't have anything, weirdly enough, you just naturally try to find something to hold on to. And for me, that was, maybe I don't have a good grasp on this whole life thing, but maybe other people do. And so I listened to Jordan Peterson's book, 12 Rules for Life. That was my first foray into self improvement. And I really like that book because Jordan talks about the meaning of things and like the meaning. I think the meaning is a good way to describe it. The meaning of why you should stand up straight with your shoulders back. Like the actual like mythological or meaning behind it, and why that's an important skill to have. And it really resonated with me. And he went to religion and all that, and it made a lot of sense. So it turns out that year where I was lonely was also my most productive year because I was on self-improvement, I was working out, and then the moment I actually made friends in that school, it kind of fell off, but but that's what started me on this journey. Um, and I never forgot those lessons, and I kept using them. And when I came to college, to university, I went back there because I realized they may not have all the answers, but they definitely have the direction right.
Right.
Yeah,
That's
if that makes
that's
sense.
that's really really interesting. So, if you had to put it on a timeline, you started in grade 11, and I guess you're in university now.
Yeah. I'm in my fourth year of university, just doing my internship.
Nice.
So
Was there a sort of like moment where you kind of committed to self improvement more fully?
um, there was a very dark moment in my life, and I just want to warn the viewers that this might get a little dark. Um, where I was coasting through my first year of university. I was in the engineering program at my university. And as you know, engineering is very difficult. And I was coasting, and it turns out when you're coasting through life, that doesn't really when you reach college, when you reach university, that doesn't really work anymore. So I failed a lot of courses in those first 2 years of university. I failed a lot of courses, and I had to deal with the backlash of that. I had to deal with the pain that I caused my parents, and that was the worst part. That seeing my parents in pain because of something I did, and
Mm.
I'm not very what's the word? Not very proud, but of this. But I ended up running away to just avoid that pain. Uh, like I said, I think if there was a theme in my life, it's that I learned to avoid when I was really young. And over the years, I've slowly been learning how to challenge or face something front on instead of avoiding. So I ran away from home and uh, for a while, and basically like walked around and walked basically just south of my city. We live right at the edge of the city, and I walk south there just to escape it all, to run away. And I had these weird fantasies in my head that makes no sense right now. That like I would walk to the next city over, even though it's probably like a 5-hour walk if you're literally walking. Um, and it was a dark time then, and I really considered unaliving back then, and but I couldn't do it. And I reached this weird conclusion that if I can't die, then maybe I should live. If I had to choose between these two paths that my life could go, then maybe it's a good idea to, if one of the paths I can't go through, why don't I go with the other one? And self-improvement is or maybe just living in general, is a iterative process. So in the moment, that's what I decided. But the more you live life, the more you build upon your skills, your philosophy on life itself. And through time, I built more upon that. That idea of if I can't go one path, I have to go the other path. I built upon that idea that what's important to me is my parents, my voice, my progression of character. And I found these out by myself. Not right away. Like I said, it was iterative. Over time, I kind of realized these things about myself. And I realized I was a very sad kid back then, and I was wrong. And I was avoidant, and I was wrong. Yeah, I was wrong.
Wow. That's a really profound story, man, and I'm happy to hear that you're still with us today. And it's kind of sad because I can really relate to that story, and I feel like a lot of young guys these days just don't know how to push through that emotional charge when you're in such a painful moment, right? So I'm happy you had the strength to carry on. Were
Yeah,
there
and
any?
that's why Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
And that's why it's important to talk about, because I know a lot of kids who are just like me that are going through the same things I did, like literally 5 years ago. And like finding an answer is difficult in this modern world that we live in. And it's important to tell our stories, and it's important to share. This is the answer I found. It might not be your answer. Your answer might be different. But it's important to share our answers with everyone, because that's part of being human, I think. Like sharing your lessons, sharing your motivations, and sharing what drives you. And to append onto what I said earlier, that the reason I didn't go through with it is um, because if I couldn't go one path, then maybe I could go another. I think my new like a couple months ago, I was self-reflecting on all this that happened, and I came to the conclusion that even though that happened so long ago and I barely feel what I felt back then, that reason still stuck with me in my head. I kind of peeled that back a little bit, huh, rhetorically speaking. I peeled that back a little bit, and I came up with a new reason to live. And my new reason to live is to find a reason to live, if that makes sense.
Sharing your answers, spoken like a true programmer. So, if I may,
Yeah.
I'm kind of curious. What were some other up and down moments you experienced early on in your self improvement journey, and what still challenges you still today?
Realizing that I was an avoidant person, that I would avoid my problems, I would avoid everything, um, through gaming, through YouTube, through anime. Um, I would use everything and anything I could to just avoid working, avoid struggle, avoid pain, any form of pain. And I'm still working through that now, to be honest. But over these last couple of years, I've kind of been pulling that apart in myself and trying to uh, what's the trying to realize like what I'm actually doing. Like when you spend most of your days or most of your free time playing games with your friends or just alone in general, it doesn't really put you in a good mood to be excited about life, to be excited to wake up tomorrow. It it puts you in an avoidant state, in a state of like, I'm going to stay up and play more games because I didn't get enough games to play today. And when you're in that place, you don't realize like how self-destructive you are. You don't realize that there's a reason why you always do your assignments on the day it's due. There's a reason that you get so overwhelmed with school, with work, with your tasks that you have to do, that you just give up at the last moment and you don't hand them in, and you just let it all go. That weird wormy voice in your head that's like, this is too much. Just let it all go. Part of why I joined the Sabertooths was because I wanted to be excited by life. I wanted to see what other people are doing. I wanted to see what is possible. Right? I mean, so far so good. But definitely, I think that is probably my next biggest struggle. Probably going to be a lifelong struggle.
For sure, man. I think everyone gets affected by self-sabotage at some point in their lives, right? So it's nice that you have enough, consciousness to recognize that, and you're working on it. And yeah, I think that voice in your head, I don't think that ever fully goes away, right?
Right. I don't think so either. You just get better at managing it, at counteracting it, at being a better person, a less selfish person.
Definitely. Doesn't get easier, but you get stronger.
Exactly, yeah.
So, real quick, I want to take it to your area of expertise. What got you interested in programming, and how did you start on that path?
Yeah, it started in high school. I just looked at the computer science class, and one day I saw computer science as an option. I was like, oh, what is this? So I I just joined it, and I found I really liked it. I found I really understood what was going on, like the modular thinking, the ability to just make something that runs on a certain logic that makes sense in my head. There's definitely like a lot of higher level concepts in programming that are really interesting to think about. And I think another thing about that was that I really wanted to make games myself. I wanted to be a creative person. I realized this maybe like a year ago or 2 years ago. I realized that in the depths of, like, in my soul itself, I was a creative person, but I kind of suppressed that to fit into my parents' expectations and to go into engineering and to do math and physics and in engineering. But I am like fundamentally a creative person, and I like creating things, and I want to share my thoughts with the world. So realizing that made me think that maybe this programming thing isn't such a bad idea.
Interesting. So, how has self-improvement helped you along on your programming journey?
I think the biggest lesson that I learned from self-improvement is that what you spend your time doing every day becomes what you are. Right? So I had these lofty dreams of, okay, maybe one day I'll become a programmer. But even though I had those dreams in my head, I didn't really spend that much time programming, did I? I didn't spend much time learning about programming, learning concepts in programming. The most programming related exposure I got was just the stuff at my school, and that's a certain brand of programming, which is not exactly the area I wanted to go into anyway. I think I realized that if I wanted to be a programmer, I would have to consciously spend my free time programming. And that sounds like such a duh concept, right? But somehow you never realize that. Especially when your mind is so preoccupied with all these technology related things, like opening your phone to look at YouTube and watch the new YouTube videos from your favorite creators. And whenever you have free time, being like, oh, I could game right now. So putting up your computer, gaming. And one of the most screwed up things I do is I would open up a game and I would listen to a podcast while gaming. So that's like double trouble right there. You can't even think, or like you're thinking about the game and you're also thinking about what the person's saying. So just the idea that like what you spend your time doing is becomes what you are is my biggest revelation, I think.
I'm curious about this myself, but how do you view things like video games and applications now that you've been working as a programmer and creating your own code and stuff? How do you kind of view those things in retrospect?
Ultimately, you have to be a bit of a hypocrite if you want to be successful in this world. There's no perfect person out there, and if they are, please show me them. You have to be a little bit of a hypocrite, and you have to, because the world's changed. The world's become an attention market rather than a value market.
Right.
Yeah. So everything is vying for your attention. Everything. From the apps on your phone who send you a notification every day because they want you to use their app, to the billboards on the streets that change ads every 10 or 30 seconds, trying to catch your eye with these fancy graphics and colorful colors, like that. So the world has become an attention market, and in this world, you can either be a consumer or a producer. And the best way to be a producer is to not consume yourself. Or when you do consume, put like strict rules on that so that you don't fall into consumption and become gluttonous. If you know what I mean.
I totally agree. And it's crazy because I don't think most of the world's population has really woken up to that. So I feel like we'll get to a point where that's slowly going to change. But until then, you really do have to make the best of what this market is giving you right now, right?
Right. Yeah. And the
So,
best thing about it is that education is like literally free right now. Like if you just go on YouTube, right?
yeah.
There's
Oh,
just
yeah.
full like multi-hour long lectures on any any topic that you're interested in learning in university.
So,
And
so I guess like with all that being said, you obviously have you very much have a self-awareness of, your role in the world and kind of how your skills can add or detract value from that. What's your ultimate aim or mission when it comes to your self-improvement journey?
I want to be a better person. I want to be a good, or I guess I can never be a good person, but I want to be a better person than I was last year. I want to be someone who can take care of my family, who can take care of my girl, who can take care of my children. I want to be someone who can bring positivity to this world, which is full of just negativity and outrage and lost people on the internet looking for advice from people who probably shouldn't be giving that. I I want to be a positive influence on the world if I can. And if I can't, be a positive influence to the immediate people around me. And that's my goal in life, I suppose.
That's a great goal, man. How has working in a tribe, in a community, helped contribute to that purpose?
Seeing a community of people with like similar goals to you that are actually like making progress, that are actually trying, that are actually like doing things, and then you see the results of that work come out, and it makes you reflect on yourself, like what have I been doing in that same time that this guy has been working on this? And that is so motivating. That is refreshing to see, like, if you tell someone to do something, they actually spend time doing it. Like you guys can you guys can probably relate when you talk to your friends and you tell them you should do this because this and this, and then they just never do it. But here in this community, it feels like I could tell people that you should try this. It'll help. Um, or I can ask for advice from other people and they can say the same thing. And then we will all actually put that advice into action and we will all actually work on ourselves and we're all progressing together. And, I think that's the true value of a tribe like this, just that combined motivational energy that radiates everywhere.
Yeah, man. I'm happy to hear that you're both in a better place now and you're also contributing and finding a lot of purpose here with us at the tribe. So I'm very thankful for that. I'm sure your group members are thankful to have you around as well. So, looking back on your life, is there any advice you would give to younger Ghoul?
I think the most important thing that any person should realize is that, like I said before, what you spend your life doing becomes what you are. If you spend your life scrolling TikTok or playing video games and listening to podcasts while you game, that becomes what you are. A gamer who listens to other people talk, who scrolls TikTok, addicted to their phone, addicted to technology, addicted to anything that turns off your brain. That's what you become. You become an avoidant person. You become someone who can't handle life, and so they just run away. Um, Thankfully, I never got into drugs, and I never got into alcohol. But when all you do whenever you have free time is smoke or inject or drink, that's kind of what you become. You become someone who does that. And I think we vastly underestimate our own power and our own ability to change our lives. We figure that, oh, I'm just not the type of person that can do that stuff. And that's crazy that we ourselves are our worst enemy. We ourselves are the person who believes in us the least. Um, but having that presence of mind to just realize that, what am I doing right now? Like, actually, like, what am I doing and where is it going? If I take this on like 10 years from now, 20 years from now, what does my life look like from the results of what I did today? And that presence of mind, that ability to see, to critically analyze your life and see like what do you spend your time on every day is probably the most important thing that most important skill a person can have.
The only person holding you back is yourself at the end of the day.
Exactly. Yeah.
Wow, man, you have an amazing story, and I'm very thankful and grateful you shared it with us today. So, just going into a quick tangent, the Bonfires of the Tribes community driven podcast. We record these exclusively on our Discord. If you want to join us and watch these live before they go up on Spotify and YouTube, you can sign up today and become a member and enjoy all the benefits and share in the network of the tribe and meet all these amazing people just like Ghoul. So I'm just going to go into a quick Q&A session. Is there anyone in the audience today that would like to ask Ghoul any questions?
Ask away.
Man, you have such a crazy story, bro. Like, do you still follow Jordan Peterson? Like, are there any other like figures in the self improvement world you kind of look up to?
To be honest, his book is like pretty much all you need to read for his philosophy.
he's he's from
Otherwise,
he's from Alberta too, actually, which is crazy.
oh, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think I remember he was Canadian. Yeah. Yeah, like his book is pretty much all you need to read. Otherwise, his stuff online is more like about what's the word? Like anti SJW stuff, which is very interesting in the moment, but in the grand scheme of things, it doesn't really affect your life at all. It's kind of a waste of time to talk about.
Right.
At least that's what I realize.
I think 12 Rules for Life is like an amazing book, and if anyone in the audience hasn't read it yet, please check it out. So we have the first question from the weekend. How long did it take for you to realize that you were on the wrong path and went back home?
I kind of disagree that uh what really shook me and made me realize that I was doing things wrong, that I was not living up to my potential. I think I always knew it. I always knew it deep inside, but I didn't want to admit it to myself. Because admitting it to yourself means you have to change. And that's hard. That's not easy. That's not something you want to do. That's not something people want to admit to themselves. I think everyone's lying to themselves about something, but they don't either they don't know about it right now, or they know it, but they just don't want to admit it to themselves.
Right.
Oh, it wasn't a single moment that made me realize it. It was this slow peeling back of the layers over years, honestly. Um, that made me realize, why am I gaming right now? I have a test in like 3 days. Why am I playing games right now? It was just consecutive moments like that that kind of made me realize there is a potential here that I am not capitalizing on, that I could be if I just tried, or if I was, yeah, I could capitalize on if I just tried.
Just a follow-up question from me, and feel free to answer this if you want. But did when you went back home, did your parents ask where you went? And did you ever have a conversation with your family about sort of your darkest moment, or just do they know you're on self-improvement? Is that like something you guys talk about?
Um, when I came back, it was definitely awkward, and it was I came back because I knew I need. I knew crap, I can't say that. I knew I needed to. Okay, there we go. I came back because I knew I needed to. But I didn't know why at the time. So they didn't like that answer, but I was back, and they were happy to have me back.
Right.
But it surprised me just how normal my life was, even after all that crap I went through for those like 2 or 3 days. Just how easily it was just to come back, and just everything was back to normal.
Wow.
And of course, there was a resentment there in my family, which we kind of worked through a little bit, but I think they suspect something's going on, especially the last couple of weeks, because I've kind of changed a little bit. But that is something I could be better on, just communicating what I'm doing and what I'm spending my time on with my family, because as an avoidant person, it's hard to open up, especially
Right.
to the people that are close to you. Which is kind of counterintuitive, isn't it?
I'm sure they probably see that energy that you're starting to spread out in your life, and that's only going to become stronger as time goes on, right? So kudos to you for
Right.
working through things. AZ asks, have you found anything like a life purpose yet?
I think the biggest purpose I have in my head right now is to find a purpose. Because I think purpose is a lifelong thing. Your purpose changes over time. Your purpose reorganizes itself. So I may have the purpose right now that I want to be a programmer. I want to help people. I want to help my family, and I want to make sure that my parents who work so hard for me don't have to work as hard anymore. But as life changes, as life what's the word? As life continues, the idea of having to have like one purpose is, I think, counterintuitive. That I think having that purpose to find purpose is something you should carry with you all throughout your whole life. Even when you're old and you're 60 and you're retired, and there's still something you can contribute to the world, even if it is just talking to your grandsons or talking to your granddaughters.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I think, you're well on your way to discovering that. And like you said, it's always changing. It's always going to be this evolving thing, right? So that's not to obviously don't go with the flow, but sometimes you never know what life has in store for you.
Yeah.
Zoo R Plays asks, sorry, give me a second here. Zoo R Plays asks, did you have friends who, when you started personal development, gradually drifted away?
I had a friend who went on personal development and they drifted away. No, I think all my friends are in agreement that we need self-help. I still stay in contact with them. I don't really. I was lucky. I got good friends. I got people that had good values, that were um I lost my train of thought maybe. That had good values, that don't do drugs, that don't smoke and drink and everything. So I have no problem with staying in contact with them because they're not necessarily bringing me down. And plus, these are guys I've known for quite some time, and we've been so super close, and um, maybe that's cope. I don't want to let them go, but I think we're all kind of on self-improvement in our own ways, in our own communities, and this is the one I joined, and the other people are in different ones. We've definitely drifted apart since high school. We don't talk as much as we did back in high school, but we always come back to each other because the bond is strong.
Those are some OG friends. Like the best friendships are the ones where you can go months or even years at a time without speaking, and then you just hit them up and it's like, hey, what's up? Right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you invite them to this tribe, then it's not cope anymore because then they're working together.
Huh. Maybe you're right.
It's
Now
actually
that's an
kind of
idea.
it's interesting because there's actually lots of people in the tribe who've invited like their real life friends into the tribe community, and like now they're like actually in different groups and stuff and just getting better every day and kind of keeping each
Yeah.
other accountable. So I think that's like another amazing feature of this tribe, right? It's just so open when you can kind of put in the work and really be honest with yourself.
Yeah. I'll
Awesome,
think
man.
about this. How I'm gonna convince them to join.
Well, man, if that's all the questions, thank you so much, Ghoul, for taking the time to hop on the podcast and telling us your life story. And I'm sure there's got to be someone out there listening in who can really relate and can really take home some lessons. So thank you.
Yeah. Thank you for bringing me on. I actually really enjoyed this, and I hope someone doesn't have to go through what I did because of this.
Of course, man. Well, it's like you said, we're in a different time, right? So always going to be another guy out there that's looking for self improvement. And hopefully they find us before anything goes down.
Or the
Bef-
degenerates find them.
yeah, before they fall to the dark path. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. This has been Ghoul, the programming leader for Ctrl.Alt.Elite. This is the Bonfire, the Tribe's community-driven podcast. You can find us on YouTube and Spotify when this episode is uploaded, and we will catch you for the next one. Thank you, Ghoul, and thanks, fellas, for coming by.